Joining us right now, the guy that put the dagger in the heart of TFC on Saturday. Not one, but two from DC United, Lamar Neagle. Lamar, welcome, my friend.
All right, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. Lamar, let's get right to it. That first half, watching up there in the press box as I was watching, I got to be honest, it was sloppy. The passes weren't crisp from either side, and it looks like you guys were testing out each other because it was such an important game, points on the table, and then something happened in the second half. Talk about it.
Yeah, I think obviously it took us a little time to get into the game. I think we've had a lot of changes in lineup and a lot of guys kind of coming and going off injuries. So for us, it's been a weird time, but we've found a way to kind of get results over the last month or so. So it's something that I think is in the character of our team, and it keeps shining through.
Lamar, an unbelievable world-class goal by Josie Altidore. He puts the club ahead 1-0. You guys come back and answer, and the crowd goes absolutely quiet. I think that was the key for the game to turn around. Talk about that and how important was that goal.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think in the first half, even leading up to Josie's goal, I think they had the run of the play. I think anybody watching would say that. But like I said before, we have a knack of fighting back, and I think that's just what happened. We got an opportunity. Steve is always a threat in the box whenever he gets forward, and I just kind of stayed alive to try to get the goal, stay around the goalie.
I mean, Lamar, you watch Bobby Boswell as you do every time in training and in the game. This guy's a pure veteran. This guy will go through a brick wall for his teammates. Watching again Saturday up there in the box, you could see the smarts that he has and an understanding of where he needs to be and helping his teammates out there. This is a pure vet and a guy that knows how to win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he brings that kind of calm to our team. Like you said, he's been on a lot of teams, been on championship teams, so he definitely knows how to win. I think he knows what we can give, and I think he's a huge part of the reason why we're at where we're at.
Let's talk about now. You're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. Anything can happen once you get into the playoffs, as we saw last year with Portland. They get in and then they win it all. Is this important that you guys are starting to peak and everyone is firing on all cylinders and everyone is all on the same page?
Yeah, absolutely. I think every year in the playoffs there are teams that end up gaining their momentum towards the end of the year, and those are the teams that do well. Like you said, Portland did it last year. I mean, Houston has been doing it for years. Kansas City, those teams, LA, teams that kind of gain momentum towards the end of the year, and it kind of leads them into playoffs. And I think that's exactly what we needed. It happened at the exact right time for us to make this push into playoffs as well, and hopefully we can keep that momentum going.
A veteran-laden team, Lamar, your squad is. Not much to say when you're down a goal, up a goal, but it's great for young guys like a Patrick Mullins who came over this season to watch the veterans like yourselves and others really display on and off the field what a true professional is all about.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of guys that came onto the team that ended up contributing. Obviously, at the beginning of the year, we were struggling to finish chances, but ever since we've added a few guys and kind of gained our character as a team, I think we've done really well. And Pat's, I think, a big part of that. He came into the starting lineup and kind of changed things up, and he's worked hard and done really well.
A lot of people talk about the Eastern Conference not as competitive, not as the quality as the Western Conference. I got to tell you, this year for me, by far has been the most competitive in the Eastern Conference. I see it as a conference that right now you can never take a game off because everyone is trying to climb over each other. You look at New York City FC and what they've done early on in their inception into the league. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, them and obviously Toronto this year are doing well in the top of our league, but it's one of those things, like you said, the competitive nature of the East Coast right now is pretty crazy when, we can beat one of the top teams in the league at their place, and now we're going to be facing NYCFC at home. So hopefully we can keep that going and obviously show the strength of the East Coast going into playoffs.
You know, Lamar, the league has really grown in leaps and bounds. MLS has done a great job in certain pockets of North America. You see Orlando packing them in. That Pacific Northwest with Seattle, Portland, and Vancouver is lights out, a great atmosphere to be a part. Too in New York, Canada, on and on. You've been in this league a number of years. What have you seen that has really, in your mind, shown a bright future for this league?
Yeah, I think it's obviously it's awesome. Obviously, with the attendances that teams are starting to draw, but I think the biggest thing is teams getting their own stadiums. I think that's a great, just a great experience for the city and for the MLS. for these teams to have these soccer-specific stadiums. Obviously, DC getting their own soon, and then obviously the clubs coming in having to have their own stadiums as well. Excited to see Atlanta and Minnesota next year coming in and kind of finding their place in the league as well.
How important is it to you and in your mind, the NCAA, and how vital it has been for the MLS? To me, it's been the feeder system for so many wonderful players to come through different colleges and universities to go on to success, not only with MLS clubs, but with Team USA, Canada, on and on.
Yeah, I think that kind of attributes to, like we were saying, the growing interest in soccer in the United States. Obviously, our best athletes are choosing soccer now, and we're growing obviously as a nation into the academy systems, and like you said, the NCAA is obviously very competitive. Yeah, it's great to see.
Lamar, what I've noticed up here in Canada with two sons of my own, whether it's the club or the academy, and I've talked to many people down south and have many contacts down there as well, is that there's still identity that is lacking within clubs or academies, where in Europe, in South America, that if you go to a certain club, there's an identity, whether it's a more offensive thinking style, defensive control, you name it, there's an identity. I believe we're still lacking this. In your mind, do you feel that it's time that, some of these clubs and academies start to really address building an identity?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a difficult thing to immediately gain as a new club or academy. I think obviously the academies, I think, will over time, but even the clubs change styles over a quick amount of years. I think in the MLS, as to where other teams that are, have been around for decades and decades, then they eventually have a system. I think some teams in the MLS still are kind of lacking that, so you can kind of tell that the academies aren't going to have that as well. But I think eventually it'll come to that when there are identities, and you know exactly how a team's going to play, or you know exactly how an academy is going to train their players, and obviously that has to happen for the advancement of U.S. soccer. So I think it will come. It's just going to take time.
Lamar, as we let you go, give us a look inside that locker room. Who's the prankster of that team? Who keeps you guys loosey and goosey?
We have a big locker room. There's a lot of guys that are kind of goofy. I mean, Steve Birnbaum we have quite a few personalities. Steve's a personality. Lloyd Sam is one of the talkers in the group. There's a bunch of guys that are good guys.
And who's the guy that cooks up a great meal and invites everyone over? Who's that guy?
We've had I've been out with Bill a few times. He's invited a bunch of people out. Kind of one of the local guys, so he knows the area. Somebody definitely good to keep in contact with if you want to go out.
And the student of the game, who's that? Who's the student of the game that likes to talk footy worldwide and can discuss it 24/7? Who's that?
Probably for me, probably my roommate, Pat Nyarko.
Outstanding. Lamar,
that loves soccer and keeps me updated on all the ins and outs.
Outstanding. Lamar, as we let you go, who do you want to thank? You're a professional. You're living the dream that a lot of kids would love to live. You're playing the game that you love. You travel all over North America. But I'm sure along the line there had to be ups and downs, a roller coaster ride. But who's been influential in your life? A sibling, a parent, a youth coach? Who stuck by you through thick and thin that you think about when you're going through some good times and bad times still today?
Yeah, there's obviously a few people. Obviously my parents, growing up playing soccer, it's not easy as a parent. You're giving up your weekends. You're spending quite a bit of money. So definitely look to them to thank for all I've been through. And when it comes to coaches, I had a high school coach, Darren Sawatsky, who's definitely been around the soccer world and one of the guys that I still go to for advice. But I think right now, definitely my wife. I got a kid on the way, and it's not always easy to take care of home. So definitely have to thank her for everything she does.
And congratulations on that. What's the advice, as we let you go, you want to give out to the young guys out there that want to aspire to being like Lamar Neagle? Because a lot of them, unfortunately, might be on the bench because their coach doesn't believe in them, and they want to play and they want to contribute. They want to show the coach that they can do that. But then you also get some others that have that talent that want to be what you're at. What's the advice you want to give them?
I think to have fun and play with freedom. I think there's enough stress and pressure that goes into soccer. And I think you don't need to be putting it on yourself as well. Sometimes you have to sit back and just play for you and play to have fun. And I think that's one of the biggest things for me. I've been cut from club teams. I wasn't recruited for college. I wasn't drafted, anything like that. But I continue to play because I love the game. So.